Hey gang, it is January still, only the 3rd of January. And I must say, the month of December was pretty depressing after unbelievable September, October, November. Everybody just thought the markets keep on going up, but no, everything takes a breather after a certain amount of time. And that's what typically happens over the Christmas break. But boy, did we start 2025 with a bang. And we're going to break it all down today and show you some of the underpinnings as to what exactly is going on. Despite some weird news, some good news too, and a ton more. The crypto market cap is like 3.5 trillion. Volume is high. We'll talk about some of the volume today too. Bitcoin dominance about 55%, and fear and greed is about 74%. But let's get into it. Thank you to the mods in the chat, TND Tazza, K8, Sean Donnelly, as always, and Martello, Patrick, and everybody else. I'll try to read them as they come in. Thank you all. This is called Rapid Recovery, because that's what happened. And of course, just a guy on the interwebs. What do I know? I don't know. But thank you all for coming. Anyway, this is not financial advice. And shout out to Patreon that make this possible every single day. You are all producing the show. Mighty King Oberon says, thanks to you and the Patreon community, I've learned so much. My account has done a 2x, but more than that, I enjoy it. And can see the possibility of retiring one day after thinking it would never be possible. This is awesome. This is the mission. But remember, we've had an extraordinary time over the last couple of years. It won't go on forever, so we need to start preparing and taking profits. It's going to be a big part of the theme for 2024. But one thing you did say that's so important is we make investing fun, enjoyable. If you love doing something, you'll be very good at it. If you hate it, you're not going to be good at it. If you hate investing, don't do it. You're probably not going to be successful. Anyway, getting into the story, fear and greed is still very high, 74, 76, depends, moves around, but it's the same as it was last week, which is pretty stunning. Now, when you contrast this to the stock market, it's a little bit different and shows you the difference in crypto. The crypto bros and ladies are all very bullish, but the stonks, not so much. They're still very fearful. Remember as well, when you look at the stock market, you're looking at a basket of trash. 40 to 60% of it is going to zero. It will be completely disrupted over the next 6 years. No doubt in my mind. And many things will be disrupted too. But let's look at the week so far. The recovery. It's been pretty good. Bitcoin actually is at 98.3. That says 98.1, but we had some names go up huge. Solana's up 17% in a few days. ETH, 4%. Even dead coins like Cardano are up. Craziness. I mean, Doge is back. Probably some excitement about the new government coming in as well. Although Doge will have nothing to do with the new government. It's just a play on terms, but I hope people realize that. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to show you this chart in euros to show you how stark the difference is and how big the gainers are against weaker fiats. All fiat is going to zero, but this one is really crashing hard. Sorry to everybody in Europe over there. I know a lot of the audience here is from Europe. Mike, good to see you. Happy Friday. Time for that Guinness. The euro has crashed 37% over the last 17 years versus the US dollar. And the good news for the Americans is euro vacations are getting cheaper. And it is a great place to vacate, have a holiday. But what's stunning about this is when you flip this over to look at the same chart I showed before, Bitcoin and crypto versus the dollar, if we look at the recovery in euros, if you're pricing your Solana in euros, you did even better. Same with Binance, same with Bitcoin, etc. Only slightly, but that just shows you the difference of how weak a currency can be just in a few days when people used to think they were stable. And back in the day, 35 years ago, we were playing with currencies. They were very stable. Not like today. You don't see these types of moves happen so fast. And we've seen the same thing with the yen and many, many other assets. So the point is, the dollar is the least dirty shirt in the laundry. The rest are going to be crappier faster. And that means, in my mind, these other economies that have weaker fiats will be scrambling to get Bitcoin faster. Watch this play out. Pretty sure of it too. And happy birthday to Bitcoin. The reason I am here making videos is because of Bitcoin, and I'm very grateful that it exists. Bitcoin is 16 today. It's called Genesis Day. Bitcoin was born 16 years ago. And by the way, a little poll will come up in a minute, but wouldn't it be epic? Wouldn't it be fantastic if Bitcoin could hit $100,000 on its birthday? And you can see here, this is the genesis going back to 2012, not going back the full 16 years, which would take us to 2009. Again, January 3rd, 2009, when it all began. But 2012, $5, $13, $800. That was a big jump, 2013 to 2014. And then from 2014 to 2018, 15K. Then 2018 to 2021, 2022, 46K on January 3rd. And now we have 97K. So basically, every 4 years on this day, it seems to be doubling or tripling. And that's not bad at all. Anyway, who wants 100K on Bitcoin's birthday? Wouldn't that be brilliant? So we'll see if that's going to come. In fact, this was my tweet from a few hours ago. Bitcoin was exactly at 97,000 when I posted this, and over 2,000 of you degens responded. So will Bitcoin hit $100,000 by Sunday? Normally, crypto at the weekends does quite well. What are the odds, fam? What are the odds? So 47% said 100K moonshot guaranteed. 46% skeptical but hopeful. And 6.8% said no way. So you can see even from this poll that the overall positivity is back after a depressing December. And there's some type of weird buying going on behind the scenes. We'll break that down with some TA as well. But just for a little bit of perspective first of where we are in this cycle. Soul Strider, thank you for coming. This is from Aurelian Ohion, and it has a beautiful graphic, one of my favorites, of the different epochs. 2011, 2014, 2018, 2022. That's kind of the bear, the bottom, when Bitcoin bottoms. And after that, you get 3 years of rallying. But remember, the most important thing to understand, 2012 is normally pretty good, or that cycle, the pre-bull, first year after the bear. And then the first real bull run, basically 2 years after the bear, things get exciting, a little bit warmed up. But in the second phase, the third year of the bull, which is what we are in now, that's when things really kick off. Look at how vertical we went in 2013. Look at 2017, even more bonkers. And a lot of people are drawing parallels between this current cycle and 2017, 2018. 2021 was a manipulated cycle, so let's throw that in the trash. And here we are, 2025. We now are on the cusp. You could call this stage 4. We are on the cusp, if history repeats, of a very good year. We shall see. We don't know. Maybe things are happening sooner, but I don't think so. And putting all this together again from AO, this is a falling wedge pattern that we have just escaped from. And per this pattern, it's a bullish falling wedge. And the target, again, if history repeats, is $150,000 Bitcoin. I did a very detailed video 3 days ago on all my Bitcoin price predictions and models. And check that out if you want to get an idea of how high we could go. But I've upped my conservative sandbag number from 120K to about 136K. But there are also bull targets way higher than that. So check it out and see how it all fits in with the analysts and the models and the predictions, and see how this comes about 150K. Could be very exciting. Alex Rogan, cousin of Joe Rogan, I hope. Good to see you. Now, there's some weird stuff happening behind the scenes we have to point out. The old whales continue to sell. And I spent a lot of time breaking this down in octas, showing you the on-chain data. But this is from Key, from Crypto Quant. Who is selling? The answer is old whales. High OTC volume and exchange deposits. But they won't crash the market because whatever they are selling, somebody is buying. And the buying pressure is coming from institutions. It's coming from OTC desks trying to fill their bags. But the daily premium is at a 2-year low. And that is very low. So that doesn't indicate we are heading into a bombastic leg just yet. But that needs to recover a bit before we really kick off. Anyway, the point is, we are here. Despite crazy selling, Bitcoin still goes up. Somebody is grabbing it behind the scenes. we don't know who. Old whales are still selling. As I've said, they've sold between 63 and 67% of their allotment to sell during this bull run. It's only about 33% left, called it a third. But they continue to still sell some. And TradFi selling. We'll talk about BlackRock in a second too. But what is interesting is when you look at TradFi now as well, this is now on their radar. Bitcoin as an asset class is now on their radar. Now you see documents like this. I can't remember who produced this, but the digital asset, I think Pomp said it's gold on steroids. It has all the same sound money principles, but also boasts a very finite supply. In fact, I would argue it's potentially, it has no inflation. It is deflationary. And this helped giving us a great 120% plus return in 2024. And Bitcoin destroyed the S&P 500. Bitcoin destroyed Berkshire Hathaway. Bitcoin destroyed gold. Bitcoin destroyed the NASDAQ. Bitcoin destroyed the bond market in a big way, because that has just been the worst bear market in the bond market ever. Bonds are dead. Yeah, here we are. But Bitcoin also has a higher Sharpe ratio. So when you look at the risk-adjusted return, it's killer. Not only is it destroying everything, but it's also the lowest risk, believe it or not. So the TradFi boys and girls are scratching their head saying, we've ignored this for 16 years, and now it's time to get in and play and get dirty. Let's go. But weird things are happening. So this is the biggest sell-off that BlackRock has ever done since the ETFs began on January 11th of this year. Sorry, of 2024, last year. I can't believe it's 2025 already. But the TradFi market timing remains awful. The ETFs often sell at the wrong time. It's as if they get on the phone and they say, hey, they're doing smoke signals in the hills or whatever, say, hey, I want to sell my bag or take some risk off. And then the TradFi executioners or whatever do it a few days later when it's too late. So despite, and this is kind of crazy because we see massive ETF accumulation. We've seen this all year. But sometimes, even after huge accumulation, Bitcoin price falls. But sometimes, even after a big dump, like 3,500 Bitcoin from BlackRock yesterday, Bitcoin price shoots up $3,000. So the ETFs no longer are controlling the game. Something else is happening behind the scenes. I can't put my finger on it, but somebody is stacking what the long-term holders are selling and what the ETFs like BlackRock are selling. And who knows, maybe, and I've been saying this for like a couple of weeks now. I say, what is up with Michael Saylor? He cannot get that smile off his face. And he's not one given to doing a lot of smiling. But guess who hung out at Mar-a-Lago? Yesterday. Two friends, one passion, Bitcoin and Saylor. That's Eric Trump. That's the son of Donald Trump. Mar-a-Lago is where Donald Trump lives. He's the incoming president of the United States. And as Michael Saylor says, Bitcoin is on the menu at Mar-a-Lago. Okay? That's code for the reason maybe Saylor is smiling, maybe Saylor is stacking so much is because he knows a strategic business reserve, Bitcoin reserve is on the menu. All right? This is where the decisions are being made for the future of this country at this place called Mar-a-Lago, which is also a golf club, I think. Anywho, on with the news. There's a lot more. And I shared this as well this morning when MicroStrategy at $328. I said, let me see. The price right now is $340. So it's up another $12 after a huge rampage this morning. But I said, MicroStrategy squeeze happening as this weekend. Bitcoin guns for 100K. Shorts don't want to get caught with their pants down, i.e. be short MicroStrategy or not be long MicroStrategy going into the weekend because we don't know what we're going to be at on Monday. Could be north of 100,000. We shall see. Per the survey I shared earlier, very possible. And the volume is insane. These are the top assets. Number one, NVIDIA. And by the way, this is only at 1 o'clock Eastern time, which is 3 hours ago, a little over 3 hours ago. NVIDIA, monster volume. Tesla, number 2. Apple, number 3. And MicroStrategy, number 4. Remember, it's a much, much smaller asset, but the amount of trading volume as a percentage of market cap is through the roof. Bonkers. Meta number 5, Palantir number 6, Amazon number 7. You notice something here as well. All these names, Google, Adobe, Microsoft, Broadcom, AMD. See the pattern, anybody? They're all either AI or AI empowering companies like chip makers or Bitcoin proxies. That's it. Pattern, okay? As Saylor says, volatility is vitality. And volume is also vitality too. And speaking of proxies too, is big day for proxies. Everybody thought they were dead, wrote them off in December. But they came back with a vengeance today. The Bitcoin miners like Riot and Cypher and MicroStrategy proxy, CleanSpark, Bday, Marathon, everything up at least 12%. And BTBT up 16%. Very, very good day. It's always the same, when you think things are dead or dying, that's when they come back and smack you in the face, which is a nice refreshing wake up. Let's check out the NAV premiums though, because the proxies have not done well in December. They fell down a lot. And this is the tracking model that we have for all of the proxies fed by real-time data. And it calculates the NAV premium in a crude sense. It takes the amount of Bitcoin that they hold, which is updated, multiplied by the price of Bitcoin live, multiplied by the number of Bitcoin they have, divided by the market cap live of the company. And you can see here, Marathon just at 1.5 right now, MicroStrategy 1.89, Hut 2.25, Riot 2.42, CleanSpark 2.78, Semler 2.85, and on and on. The green ones are lower green than they were in the past. In fact, Marathon fell below 1.5 a few days ago, and MicroStrategy fell to, I think, about 1.66, if I'm not mistaken. But they're back, and they're coming back. And NAV premium of 2.0, I believe, is where they will probably revert to as well. Let's get back to Bitcoin and tie in what's going on with liquidity in the world, because there was so much FUD spread, and I tried to counteract the FUD of saying, no, Bitcoin price is not driven exclusively by liquidity. It does help, yes, but it doesn't mean it's going to crash to 70,000 or 80,000 that everybody was calling for. I said, no, that's not the case. Thank goodness for Axel Adler, who shared this beautiful chart. And he shared a proper chart about the global inflow of global liquidity. And yes, there is a slight delay, but this has gone up. Yes, 2023 sucked. Yes, early 2024, nothing really happened. But now we have global liquidity, M2, day over day, spiking, going up. And as the old adage goes, all models are wrong. Some are useful. Liquidity is back, ladies and gentlemen. And this will have a positive impact on Bitcoin's growth. Check out the C19 spike there too. Crazy times indeed. Now, not just global liquidity, but also USM2 is also shaping up nicely. This is from Econometrics. You can see the rate at which the US money supply is growing is a key driver of Bitcoin's expansion. And right now, the M2 year-on-year growth is not far below the average growth pre-C19. And it will certainly reach that point within the next quarter. It is, and it continues to grow after all, it will be a strong tailwind for Bitcoin. So everything's kind of happening at the right time that we've been talking about for a long time as well. It's all shaping up. I mean, if you were to align all the stars for a bullish scenario, well, here we are. You can't really make it much better. And there are some problems happening right now in the markets. Much of it has to do with liquidity, bond markets, reverse repo, etc. And as we know, Bitcoin is sensitive to global liquidity, but there's some weird stuff going on right now. You can see here there are three primary markets which have the largest constraint on global liquidity. First of all, a strong dollar, the strong Dixie. Dixie is ripping higher as we speak, and this makes debt harder to service, ladies and gentlemen. Also, oil is going up, which is our primary energy source until we can figure out the sun, and thus a key input cost to global trade, transport, manufacturing, etc., which is not good. And we have falling bond prices, rising yields, which increases the benchmark interest rate, reduces the value of financial collateral, i.e. bond values go down as coupons go up. And this creates an incentive for money managers to sell risk assets and earn a higher risk-free return. So we have lots of weird stuff all happening at the same time. But the real problem is it is creating a liquidity squeeze, which means liquidity has to come in. And you saw that happening in the US markets over the weekend. The banking machine did not have enough liquidity, so they're doing funky stuff on a Sunday. Anyhow, Light Chaser Photo, thank you for coming. We got to watch all these things and understand how they all play together. Net, Bitcoin primarily driven by who is buying, who is selling, and the weight between each. If the buyers exceed the sellers, the price goes up. It's that simple. Okay? The other stuff is noise. Now, speaking of all the fear in the month of December about Google Willow and quantum computing, guess who just introduced quantum resistance? The answer is Solana. I call it the quantum of Solace because everybody's afraid of quantum computing. And this is quantum resistance. Shout out to James Bond as well. I just thought that was funny. I like to play with words sometimes. Now, AI tokens as well continue to rip. It has been a crazy 7 days for many assets, but especially these AI tokens all over the place. AI. It's been the theme since 2022, and it will continue to be so as well, especially as these two worlds collide. The traditional markets, AI and crypto. It's going to be big. Wait, we'll see. Now, there are some big token unlocks coming over the next few days. You got Caspa releasing about 182 million tokens. Athena always rains down tokens, 12 million. And Optimism distributing 31.34 million tokens. January 9th, Athena is, I forgot to write the date down. Soon, I think the 7th. And Caspa on the 6th. So watch for yourself there. Hedge yourself. Kamikaze Creations, thank you, in Australia. Already up. Now, Tesla news. Tesla had a huge rebound. Yesterday was such a golden opportunity to snag some at 375. And here we are. Wall Street, TradFi don't understand Tesla. And it's wonderful because if they did, we wouldn't be able to score these opportunities. So be grateful for that stuff. But this is from Aloja. And it talks about the Gigafactory Berlin news. And the Model Y Juniper is apparently coming. Apparently, Shanghai closed down their lines in Q4, and Giga Berlin now could start this month building the new Model Y facelift, which is already the best-selling car in the world, and it's about to get a whole lot better. All the stuff they did with the Model 3 is coming to the Model Y and more. And AJ says, if this is true, it could mean Tesla tries to pull off a multi-factory, simultaneous new vehicle production launch. That would be a first for Tesla. And this is what's on the cards, because in 2025, they will be releasing new models, but they're finding a way to build everything on the same chassis and using the unbox process and everything else. So this is what's happening. It's going to be good. And again, but don't worry about cars. Cars are not the game. Autonomy is the game. But even bigger than autonomy is robots. But there's another game too that's super interesting. This is energy. And I've been saying for a year now, energy is a $1 trillion business. This is from Parsa, a sleeping giant of Tesla's profit margins. Wall Street loves to think of Tesla as a car company. Well, show me a car company that deploys 11,000 megawatt hours, which is 11 gigawatt hours of grid-level battery storage units in a very short window of time. The answer is nobody. But what's crazy about this, and I wrote a paper about this, you can find it on Substack, all my Substack readers, and thank you to all of them and the team that puts all the stuff together as well. Sometimes I write stuff personally. In fact, I will write a personal Substack later today. It'll be free for everybody just to check it out. You can subscribe for free. You don't have to pay. But if you do, it's 10 cents a day. Anyway, battery production. I set the stage here of how mathematically the Tesla Megapack business is worth $1 trillion market cap. Did that a year ago. A year ago, the market cap of Tesla was about under 400 billion. And I said the energy alone is worth $1 trillion. People thought I was nuts. No, not nuts. Not nuts. Maybe a little bit nuts, but not completely nuts. But these are the Tesla energy deployments. Remember, it's growing like a weed. 11 gigawatt hours in a quarter. Nuts. Look at the growth rate. This is S-curve-ish. And they haven't even turned on their new factory in China yet. That's going to come. And all of this stuff is sold. These megapacks are, depending on how many you buy, they're $2 million each, $1.7 million each, at 30% margin. And there's infinite demand around the planet. They'll be selling these puppies through 2030. No sales cycle. It's just give me as many as you can. Kind of like the way Elon buys H100s and B200s off of Jensen. It's like, give me all you have. Don't even quibble about price. Just get me the energy storage. Get me the B200s. Get me those Blackwells and those Hoppers as quickly as you can, please. Thank you. That's the way it works. But there's more. Okay, we always have to look forward as to what's going on. And when I say this, people say, oh, nobody can estimate population out 100 years. Well, yeah, you can actually. You can estimate a lot of things out. And the longer the time frame you have, the easier it is to do. But China is dying out, as with many other countries around the world. This is a pretty stunning statistic. Shout out to Sanjay as well for sharing it with me. Population in China today, or 2024, 1.42 billion. 2050, 1.27 billion. 2100, 639 million. It's going to more than half in 75 years. Okay? That is astounding. Humans are not breeding. They're not having babies. I don't know what they're doing. They're playing with their video games or whatever. They're not having babies. Or they can't afford babies, or they're struggling with, they have no time, or I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but it's crazy. But China is dying out, as with many other Western economies as well, and even places like Brazil. And we need robots ASAP. Guess who has those? They're coming, and they will be the leader. Mark my words, Tesla. It's so easy to predict. It's not even funny. Anywho, speaking of Tesla, bots, etc., AI, these are the largest AI startup funding deals ever in the history of the world, not just 2024. XAI raised $12 billion. These are private company raises. Databricks, $10 billion. OpenAI, $6.6 billion. Waymo, $5.6 billion. Whoever put their money into Waymo needs their heads examined. That's a stupid waste of time. But anyway, humans are stupid, so that's why we're able to get ahead. Remember, if everybody was clever, we'd be screwed. We'd be poor. So be grateful for the stupid people in the world. That's AI, and that's huge. I keep stressing it. Be aware of it. Prepare for it. It's coming fast. And Starlink now has a global communication system. And look at the growth. They've gone from, what do they have? Let me get this right. The company reported 3 million users back in May, and now they serve over 4.6 million users. But also aircraft, cruise liners, military ships. A friend of mine is on an aircraft carrier. Do you know how they watch my videos? Starlink. I won't disclose his name, but shout out to you, buddy, if you're watching. But they all, they're on an aircraft carrier. And they're degenning into stuff as well. It's hilarious. Anyhow, SpaceX completed 89 launches. They have over 7,000 active satellites in low orbit. And 350 are designed to directly connect to LTE phones. So if you're with T-Mobile, you can connect directly to Elon's satellites. That's the future. Everything is going to be disrupted. I wouldn't want to be AT&T or one of these companies right now, Verizon. They're toast. They're toast. I'm getting ready to short those puppies when the time is right. Got to make sure the adoption is there first before the tipping point. Because sometimes before these things go under, there's a last big gasp. Like you see that with General Motors right now and stuff like that. You know they're dead, but they just take a long time to die. There's a lot of those things out there, by the way. But anyway, we'll get ready to short some stuff this year. Promise you. Now, X, coincidentally, is now the #1 source of news on Earth as well. From Nick here. This is a list of countries where X is listed as the #1 news source. Notice the countries missing. The Canadians aren't there. I don't know why. Canada, well, the Canadians that watch this channel, they're all on X, I guarantee you that. But 140 countries to be precise, out of 193 on the planet, use X as their source of news. And I couldn't be more pleased. My vision for 2024 was to have truth. And there, if you procure the right sources of information, you will get the truth. Of course, there's always garbage everywhere, but you get a lot more truth than you would in mainstream media. So goodbye, mainstream media. You're dying. DBF 430, thank you so much as well. So nothing but goodness today. Massive recoveries and more. This is really, really kind of crazy. And I've always warned too as well, the richer get richer, the poor get poorer, but I want my audience to get richer. But here, the combined wealth of the world's 500 richest individuals surpassed $10 trillion for the first time ever in the history of the world. We have Elon Musk nearly at $500 billion right now, probably more if you appraise some of his companies correctly. And then leaders, number 2 is Zuckerberg, 3 is now Jensen Huang, and Bezos is no longer there. And way down the list is folks like the Bill Gates guy, because he sold all his Microsoft shares. Again, as I said before, if he held his winners, classic rule, I'll emphasize it again, let your winners ride. If Gates held all his Microsoft shares, he'd be worth about $1.3, $1.4 trillion. Instead, he doesn't even make the top 10 list here. Aha. Schadenfreude, let's go. And sadly, U.S. economy remains weak. This is from Liz Ann Saunders. Chicago PMI deteriorated sharply back in December, and this is now testing the lows of May. So the economy is not strong by no stretch of the imagination, no matter what government data you read. Not the case. No, not the case at all. There is, however, a weird reversal. You know, things are coming back, etc. Things are getting strong. We saw something happen, and I call this the Covidians reversal in real estate prices. Excuse the name. But here you can see a map of where real estate actually did go up. And let me know in the comment below. I'm overdue for a global real estate update. I have a lot of data to share, but nobody really cares about these global updates. But they're fun to look at too, because I still believe everybody should have a castle. But if you're interested, drop a comment below and I'll put it together. But this is the Covidians reversal in real estate prices. You can see there was a time during C19, everybody flocked to places like Texas and Florida. They left New York, etc. And they left Washington. They basically went south. They went to cheaper places, cheaper real estate. But now we're seeing a return away from the Sun Belt, the sunny, hot, humid areas, going back north. So you see Alaska shows the highest rate of increase at 9.1%. So people are moving to Alaska. They're getting away from the craziness, and they're going to where the outdoors are fantastic. But it can be cold up there, and that is driving up prices. New Jersey, huge increase as well, up 7%. Again, all the people, I bet you, left Florida, and they went back to Jersey. And remember, in 2000, they left Jersey, went to Florida, same with New York. They went right back again. Everything happens, and I guarantee you, before I finish this thought, before I look at the map, what happens is where the bodies go, if you can anticipate where the bodies are going and you can speculate on the real estate markets, you can make good money. But everything balances itself out. So a ton of people, for example, they leave California or they leave New York, and then the prices there fall, and they go to Florida. They go to Texas, go to Dallas and Austin, where the prices go through the moon. And then they realize, wow, all of a sudden, California, New Jersey, they're cheaper than Florida or whatever, or they can get insurance where they can't get it in Florida, or I don't know what. Anyway, the point is everything mean reverts. So we saw an extraordinary spike due to Covidians. Now it's all shaking back out. I'd love to see what's happening in Europe too, because I bet you something similar is going on. Although the Europeans are less flexible, they don't pack up their bags and move country as quick. Although a lot of people are leaving places like the UK and others, and Sweden and Norway, as I've documented as well in the past. Now, you can see other places. What else we got? Nevada and Maine all went up. California up 3.5%, but Texas and Florida in the toilet, as well as that state between California and Washington, that's called Oregon, also in the toilet. And everybody wants to go to Hawaii, 9.1%. Much of the Hawaii price is driven by ultra high net worth people buying up all the land, and the locals hate that too, which I think is a little bit unfair too. Anyway, that's the real estate market. And the final piece of news today, despite tens of billions spent, the problem is not solved. From Geiger Capital, U.S. homelessness has increased 33% since 2020. Again, this is what happens when you let the government try to solve a problem. Free markets. Look at Javier Milei in Argentina. Cut government out. Let free markets do it themselves. They'll solve the problem. Okay? They'll make it happen. But anyway, the grift is real for the governments. Thank you all for coming. Hope you like the content. It's Friday. I love the weekends. I don't know why, because I work every day anyway, but hey, it's the weekend. Enjoy it. Be safe out there. Thank you once again, TD Tesla, K8, Sean Donnelly, and the whole gang for coming. And yeah, I see some comments here. Yeah, the world is a mess. That's for sure. And governments don't know how to fix it. But I'm hoping we now have a canary in the mine in Argentina that shows you what a country can do and how they can turn themselves around in just 12 months, how they can fix stuff. But you need a chainsaw, so it might be worth investing in some chainsaw businesses as well, because many economies around the world, governments need to fix themselves. Thank you all. Have a good night. Appreciate each and every one of you. Bye-bye.